What's going on, everyone? Vampyr Gaming here, and I am once again joined by Tony, the Blackbeard player from Virginia. You might remember the video. First Blackbeard video I ever did, by the way. Third Blackbeard video total now. He's starting to become a recurring character on this channel. I don't know how I feel about that. But you just finished. You got 6th place, is that right, today in the online treasure or online regional?
Yeah, finished 6th.
Awesome, amazing. How you feeling?
Pretty good. Thankfully, it was at home, so could just chill and relax in between rounds, like lay on the bed. But it was pretty fun. My friends and I were all like in calls in between the rounds, just chilling and relaxing. So it's a good time.
As friends should.
All my opponents are also very nice. They're all very like chipper today for some.
You can't ask for much more than that, you know, like especially like when you have a great game, incredible games, incredible opponents. Like that's really what One Piece is all about. Would love to see it.
Yeah.
Do you remember your matchups from today?
Yeah, I can go from the start. I think my first round was UP, which like it's a very common one. Then I played Shanks. Then my friend Vin on Lim, no hits TCG. In round 4 was another UP, followed by another UP, and then 2 Zoros, a Rayleigh, UP, and last round was a Bonnie. Those are my matchups.
Okay. Got it. So no GPs then?
No GPs. None of my friends played GPs today. Like none of them. So I was very surprised there wasn't many. I don't think it was very represented. Maybe we'll see after Eggman or whoever releases the information. But it seems like a lot of my friends dodged GPs, but they were playing decks that would have liked playing to GP. So
Got it. And then what was the loss to then? Because all the other ones were wins. What was the one loss to?
yeah, I lost to Zoro in round 7. I would say like I was very lucky in this tournament. I won 8 die rolls out of 10, and of the 2 die rolls that I lost were against UPs, and they gave me first, which is what I preferred. The roll against Zoro I won, but then like I had a curve out, but then on 7 I didn't have anything to play. You'll probably see I had 4 2Ks in my hand and 2 10-cost teachers, so I just swung 12 at lead basically. So from then on I just lost on tempo, and then it was unfortunate. There was some like issues in the game, but there wasn't anything I could have done I think during that game. I think I can go into it later, but I'm pretty sure that one I kind of resigned myself on turn 5.
Got it. You know, it happens, and there's always those games where it's like, well, there's like a 2% chance I win, but like you still just got to play it out.
Yeah, and he did it really well. I think it was Jackie or Johnny, but I'll check later. But he played it really well. Pressured me a lot, and it was a pretty fun match. Regardless, we were chatting the whole time, so we were talking about like other games and other things. So we weren't really like, paying attention to the actual game because I think I resigned myself already.
Got it. Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and jump into this list here.
Sure. This is a list I've been running for a bit now, since the store regionals, I believe. I played at Gaming Universe, and also I brought it to Nats, so in Pirates League. But obviously playing Teach. This is the deck that I've been playing for a while. Really enjoy it.
Just give me a moment of your time, if you would. I'm incredibly proud and incredibly excited to announce. So some of you may know I have a shop, Vamp TCG. #1 way you can support me outside of watching the videos. Everything so far has gone back towards partnerships, creators, whatever content for me to consume to provide you all with value. But I'm incredibly proud to announce that we now have a collab with the Guard Stylish, official Vampyr Gaming leader cases available on the site now. Along with all the other ones. The other colors, working on those, so stay tuned for that. But we've got this here, official, incredible. It's all thanks to you. If you guys can just go check it out. And also, I'll just kind of show you here as well, if you can keep a secret. Don't talk about this a lot, but if you were to pick up any of the Vamp TCG sleeves, it doesn't count for any official sleeve. But if you were to pick these up right now, you can get it, and you'll save $6 on your leader case. And on top of that, you also I still have a couple of these left. The treasure campaign packs, you'll get one of those for free. And if you're located within the U.S., you'll get this free, shipped free with the purchase of the sleeve. So it'll be $30 shipped. You get this, you get that, and you get that incredible deal. Go check it out, vamptcg.com, and let's get back to it.
My friends all play Teach, so we just talk to each other. We have a big group chat. Right now, I'm only running 3 search stage. You need to see the stage in some matchups, but as we've seen today, I don't think it's necessary as much as before. A lot of decks are too fast now. You can't afford to play this. For example, like into Zoro or Rayleigh, you can't really. You need to see it at some point. But I would rather prefer playing my next card. Prefer playing my eras to fill up my trash for reasons later, but also Lafitte's because.
Is that also 3 my era? Sorry.
Yeah, it's only 3 my era.
Okay.
I cut these ratios down to put in some tech cards that were really pivotal in general, and I don't really think I need to see them very often. But I've seen a lot of people in the group are on 3 Lafitte's, 2 Lafitte's, and 4 of these and 4 of these, or some ratio of these. But this is generally what you want to see. You need to see your cards so you don't brick, unfortunately. But I think Lafitte's a lot better for a lot of matchups, given that most things, it acts as a pseudo blocker from UP, so they have to swing 6 into it. Into Rayleigh, they have to swing into it more or less, so that otherwise they get too many cards. Zoro, same thing. So a lot of games ended with me dropping 2 Lafitte's on the board at some point, and then just getting 3 cards per turn.
Got it.
Yeah. So I played the Lucci Blackbeard package, kind of, where I've always been on 4 Augur, 4 Q.
Yeah, real ones remember.
Yeah, I think I like this build. It's the most fun for me. It also back in the bid times, I was a big fan of this because it felt like I didn't want to rely on triggers very often. And of course, the new 7-cost Teach. I'm only at 2 because most people want 3 for the UP matchup and a lot of late grinding matchups. But then I realized that I can replace one of these Teaches with some tech cards, and that would help me completely win that matchup for the most part. Of those tech cards, of course, I think standard now, but we were running 4 Tempest kicks to reach the thresholds for 9 costs. So an Augur, Tempest, and a 7-drop reaches 9, which is very important, and also helps out in a lot of matchups like Bonnie and Zoro and such. So I think 4 is necessary. You build it up with trash, with era, and stage. At the moment, I'm running 3 Burgess. I thought about cutting it to 2. I think this card used to be the best card in Blackbeard for the most part, back in the Turbo Burgess meta. But now that everything has a way to deal with it, we have Zoro with Kuina, we have UP with the 8-cost Rush Luffy. It's a lot worse now, so I don't like it as much. And also, of course, the perennial Graph Blade Red Rocks. So I don't really play this. I think today and last week when I played, I only played Burgess probably 1 or 2 games out of 20. So I only played it in the Zoro matchup for the most part, and I needed to use it to finish off games in Shanks or UP. So it's not very. I wouldn't like playing this card. It's not my favorite card anymore.
Got it. What matchups like today? Was it just the Zoro and UP? Were you playing in just late game for the fat body, or how did it come up today? How are you liking the 3?
Yeah. So the Jesus Burgess came out whenever the enemy UP, for example, would use a couple for the UP matchup, they would use their 8-drop Luffy's, and after 1 or 2, I assume that's all they have. And if I'm at a point where I can drop it safely, I will pop my Kuzan into the Burgess and use that to swing. But I would never hard play it unless I had to and then nothing else to play. Against Zoro, I usually pop it out of a Kuzan after they're finished with their boards. Once they the Zoro matchup is once a certain point of there's enough cost reduction on my field, my side to kill their board every turn, they're just gonna use their events and just not play anything. So at that point, you rather have a Burgess on board than a Augur, for example. That's when it came up, and of course the Shanks matchup. You play on 4, you can use it and get value of that because that's the matchup that you still throw Burgess. So out of all the matchups, that was the only matchup that I actually needed Burgess on 4, and needed to pressure on in that match.
Got it.
Not anymore. Yeah, because OP10 was all Shanks. So
yeah, and that card was the GOAT.
I run 4 Kuzan. That's probably the best card. This is really broken when it came out. Still is really broken. Great card. Just fills up your curve. Takes anything from trash like a toolkit. And favorite character Kuzan. I only run 3 10-cost each. People in Japan and whatever are cutting to 2, maybe 3 or 4. Depends on the ratios. I like 3 just to have the option to pitch it if I have to, or like not take it if I need to, like skip over it in a search. And then of course chaining it is very good because most UPs only run 1 or 2, or maybe like 1 or 2 red rocks. So when they drop the first red rock, you can play it. The thing is, it's kind of not used at all in most matchups anymore because, like, again, Zoro can swing 15 twice at this basically and just kill it. Right, so you never play in that matchup. Rayleigh can just ignore it and kill you before then. A lot of things don't require this card anymore, so it's pretty mediocre. Because if you drop it, you need to chain it after with something else. So it was pretty helpful for the Shanks and Bonnie because that was the old matchups it was good in, but I don't think it was necessary. So like if I didn't see it, it was fine. I have 7 2Ks I'm gonna show right now. These are like the 3 Caribous and 4 Stronger. I run 8 total 2Ks, but the Caribous, just explanatory, they're just the 2K blockers. I only run 3 because Bull Pistol for Rayleigh, the Queen for Zoro, a lot of things can rest and just remove this easily. UP has to bounce. So that's why I only have it at 3. But a lot of turns, a lot of games are won if you just drop 2 Caribous at the very end and just pray you don't have the answer. It didn't happen today, but I've seen it happen a lot in locals and such. Stronger, it's probably the best 2K for Blackbeard. It's the -2. You kind of need it to fill up the trash because it's +2 trash cards in your trash to fill up to this kick. That's pretty helpful and came up a lot today because you use this, so Augur, Stronger, and 7-drop to kill an 8-drop Luffy once they play it and bounce your other thing. So that can help you come back on tempo with that. For the Zoro matchup, and I guess most matchups now, Zoro and Rayleigh for the most part, I run 2 Black Vortex. I'm at 2 just to have the option to not pick it up if I see it in the search. Same reason as 10 cost teach. You kind of need this for Zoro. I got out of a 17K. I got like my Zoro match I won. I got out of 2 like 14K swings because I had the Black Vortex basically over the course of 2 turns. So both vortexes had value, and so no life just needed to counter out with like 8 in hand, and the same reason why like I had 2 defeats on board. So I just kept searching and then slowly willing down. I have 1 black hole. A lot of people cut this. I didn't use it at all today for the most part. I used it one time against Shanks. They dropped a law that cannot be removed anymore. So this is just there to answer that with the Augur. And of course, if I see a Blackbeard mirror, for example, it would help me to have this in my deck so I know I can play around that. A lot of games don't end anymore when you do negate their blocker and you swing 11K. Like UP can just counter out, Rayleigh can just counter out. So the value of this went down drastically. Additionally, since people are playing less Burgesses, in the mirror, it's not that worth as much. I have it just to have it, just to have the option to play it. It would feel bad not to play it. One of the 6-cost Kuzon blocker, this actually came up a lot where it's a really annoying blocker to get rid of. And if you play it out, the opponent has the option of swinging and then maybe popping out like a 15, 13K Burgess or like a 5-cost Kuzon. So they would do some really weird things with their math on their Dawn that was not optimal. So just because if I block with it and pops out a Burgess, they might die that same following turn. So this actually came up a lot. People stopped running Grav Blades, but I played around that by not having 2 6 costs or less on board. And that because I would always pair it up with this Shiryu, which is the new PRB02 Shiryu, which is the 8-cost replacement for the San Juan Wolf blocker. It's just a static 8-cost, which is out of range of Grav Blade, which is the important part. And also, it's really good in Rayleigh matchup where it will pop a 4-cost with the entire deck. This came up really big in the Rayleigh matchup because I played this on 6, and then it died, killed something. Then I brought it back up with Kuzon. It died, killed something. Then I brought it back up with Kuzon, and so on and so forth. So it got a lot of value, and it's a very strong card in that matchup. I think it just wins the matchup for you if you see all of those.
He's a blocker, right? So he's a blocker, and then on KO, you KO a 4-cost or less.
Correct. So it's a lot of value in the card.
Yeah, and you can afford. He's a 1K or he's a 1K too?
He's a 1K.
Yeah, his card's busted. I remember when they revealed it, everybody was like, "Hey, no way!" It's crazy that you only play 1, but of course, being able to be brought back makes sense.
Exactly. The reason why I have 1 is because I have 2 of these Shiryus. These are the original OP10 ones that I really like playing with. It's really good in the Black matchup, really good in the any green matchup to kill Tashigi or Koshiro. Really good into killing Zoro Jiro on curve. It's a very good like jack of all trades. Like it's very good because you can play out early and you swing with it for 5 every turn. Didn't come up at all very much today, except for killing the Bonnie game, just winning the Bonnie game by like coming out of a Kuzan and then popping their like Koshiro Tashigi to answer whatever they have on the board. So it's just a very easy removal. So you have like turns where you like are seeing 3 or like 2 to 3 things on the enemy board, but then you have like a bomb with like Kuzan on board, and it pops out a Shiryu that pops something, and then pops something with Doku Augur and 7-drop and Tip 6, for example. So like the board went from like 1 on my side to like nothing, and 3 on his side to nothing. So it felt like Lucci in a way, where like you're like getting ahead. But I think maybe I'll do like 1-2 if I was gonna split, like 1 this Shiryu and 2 the other one, because this one came with a lot more in a lot more matchups than this one. This one just felt like a win more card if I saw it early against green. Kind of needed to get ahead on the RG Smoker matchup, but I didn't see any RG Smoker today, so that was
Got
thankful.
it. So do you think that obviously, right, like because it KOs a 4, it can KO like the Luffy. And he KOs a 3. Do you think that it was just better versus like Rayleigh, right? Like did the other one just not, the other Shiryu, just the 4/3 KO just not show up as much? You think that just because the value provided in Rayleigh was like the big reason for like potentially like switching it the 2 and 1?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is that in the Rayleigh matchup, the Rayleigh will never typically kill this Shiryu, but it has to kill this one because it's blocker. So you have the choice to have it go to the trash. So when I play this Shiryu, it always just pops something, and then it's beneficial because it stays on board. So swings 5 return and chips away their hand. But this one came up a lot more because I can bring it back with Kuzan. I also I played a couple Rayleighs in the last few tournaments I've done, and I haven't seen the Shiryu very often either. So it's like if I see it, but the entire game plan is just pick these searcher cards to look for the Shiryus and the Dokus in the matchup. That's the entire matchup for most part. It's pretty unlikely to not see them, but if you don't, it's like a very hard matchup, and it's like much more that are favored. But having like Doku and Shiryu on curve is like pretty much like 80-20, 70-30, for example.
Got it.
Yeah, but yeah, I might switch over because also this blocker helps a lot in the UP matchup, and this one is completely worthless in the UP matchup because it doesn't do anything except for Zoro. The last 2 cards are the tech cards, I guess, for the set, for this deck list that I really like. Manashiri and Shiryu, 3 costs. This is never played ever. It's just a 2K, but it's a searchable 2K. Before I was running the Katarina Devon as a 1-of 2K searcher. That could be searched from any of my searchers, right? And then it's a 2K. It also gives -1, which is important for skill matchups where you need to get to like a specific number, like 5 drops, for example. So you can do like Katarina Devon and Black Hole. But I really recently switched it because we've been playing Manashiri for a while. Manashiri kind of saves a lot of matchups and wins more on a bunch of matchups. You have the Manashiri out, you play it out. You basically just seal the game based on card advantage because it's not only just the card, but it's a pseudo blocker, and you can grab out important cards like Kuzan, for example. So we have like I think Elijah. Shoutouts to Elijah OBT's Grandeur. He did like a infinite Tsukiyomi kind of idea, like the word, and we kind of did the same in the matchup where you do Manashiri to search, and then get Kuzan, and then you pop out a Shiryu blocker, and it protects the Manashiri whenever the UP, for example, swings at it. So if UP gets to swing at it, it just dies, and then they have to invest either God Thread or another swing or Furnosuke to kill it. At that point, you already drew a card from Kuzan, so you went +1. And if they can't remove it, you just do it every single turn, and everything else on the board keeps swinging. And the reason why I have the Shiryu is so I can come out from... It's the only 3K, a 2K I can grab in the deck. So if it comes up in the matches where I need a 2K real bad and the Manashiri's on board, I can just grab a 2K and upgrade like the 1K to a 2K, for example. That came up like once in the Zoro matchup where I grabbed an extra counter. So it's pretty important. But generally, I just grab a Manashiri. I use the Manashiri to grab Kuzan, and then grabs me an Augur or a Shiryu. If you grab the Augur, then obviously in the UV matchup, you just get +2 cards. So you won't starve. Because everyone is starving. This just seems like the perennial playstyle for UP against Blackbeard, because if the Blackbeard gets unlucky, they'll starve, they'll brick, and then they can't remove your things, and you get overwhelmed. Also, the benefit of this is like the same reason why Emu runs the new one cost Hiroshi. It puts 2 cards back in their deck, so you don't deck out. This actually came up twice in DP matchups where I had one match, I had 3 cards left in deck and a Doc Q on board. So realistically, he could have killed the Doc Q to make me draw, and I draw the turn. And so I have one more turn to swing. And I only had I had 3 cards in the deck instead of 1 card in the deck because I played Mantree earlier that game to get cards into my deck. So let me have another turn to swing 15k and get the win. Other games were the same where this just makes it so the matchup isn't a clock anymore because you just added an extra turn basically to the game, and you'll have 5 life, so you can just swing 15s and stuff, and you'll be fine. That's the deck list.
Yeah, incredible. Well, congrats again. So, I guess first thing that comes to my mind is like, were there any? Because I know like you didn't play the black hole. Do you think there are any changes that you would make potentially, like upping Mancheri? You know, we kind of talked the Shiryu. Like, do you think that this is close to the best 50? Do you think there'd be any changes, or like what kind of flex do you think this deck has? Because obviously yours is a bit more unique than the other ones, right? Because we've seen 7 cost teach usually at about a 3. I don't think I've ever seen 4 just because of searchability, but I know like the biggest thing is stage, and I think that was like a bold change, but I don't think it's incorrect. And obviously, you know, you got results with it. How do you feel about the list overall?
I think most people will just see the black hole as like a dead card in this meta. I think I kind of agree. It just feels bad taking it out. I would, if you want to do a change, it's a very easy, like most people would do, is 4 stage, 1 black hole, or 0 black hole, for example. This is the easy thing to take out. And of course, most people don't run Mancheri, and so you can just take that out for like another 7 drop, and it's the same complete deck as another person, like anyone else's deck. I just feel like the options of having Mancheri is like the favorite black card I have, like one of the favorite black cards where you have the option to grab from trash. It's pretty cool. But like again, I could probably take out a black hole and put in a Mancheri, but I just don't want to like sack my Blackbeard mirror, or sack like some matchups where I want to see black hole sometimes. Because just having in the deck will make it so that if you want to play it as an out to negate one of their blockers to go for game, you can still search for it and have a way to do it. One of the reasons I have like different alted cards is that so I can keep track of where I am in the deck based on the alted card. So like if I see this alt Burgess at some point, put it back in my deck, and I see it again, I know the next few cards are this. So that's I think why most people have like different Blackbeard, like 10 drops for example. Like I know Impact I think ran with like 1 of each. So like manga and 1 tip whatnot. So that's the idea, but I think it's very important to keep track of all this stuff. But I think the most unused and like I think maybe underrated, but also like the results don't show. I don't think this card is very good, but it just feels bad not to have it. In my opinion, for me at least. Okay. Of course, if you take out the Shiryu, if you don't play Manager, you don't need the Shiryu. This doesn't do anything but a 2k. You just put another Caribou or like a Katarina Devon, for example. You want more searchability. There's not much to do for this deck list, I think. I think you kind of want to have 4 Augur, 4 Kuzan, 4 Tempest, for example, 4 Doc Q. Like those are pretty standard, and the ratios are all the rest. I don't think you run 4 Burgess unless you want to just go 4 Burgess, 4 Era, 4 Stage, like 4 Lafitte, not as much KO, and then just win every matchup that's turbo, but then realize that none of your matches are turbo anymore. Not a single one that you need to like worry about in the meta. So it's a bit too late for turbo, I think. But next set, Emu, against Emu, you probably need to do turbo, so we're going to change a lot of this stuff. We're going to see if it's playable, but if not, I probably could. If it's not playable next set, maybe I'll just play the next black leader, which is Emu. So we'll see.
Yeah, it is like I would love to follow up on that because, like, obviously, you know, you think Emu, and then of course their best card is Activate Main, and then of course every other card says this card cannot be removed if you have 7 or more trash cards, which is just absurd. Do you just like surface level? Obviously, it seems like you believe that the deck has potential there. How do you feel like as far as like OP13 goes?
Yeah, so of the matchups besides Emu, like the elephant in the room, I think Blackbeard is very favored into, based off discussions. I think I told my friend Daniel, he's basically my like Blackbeard coach / like friend. Basically we just like, he coached me back in the day and we still talk, and he also gives me all the tips. We made this deck together. He's like the goat Blackbeard in New York City area where I'm from. But he did all the testing because I've been busy with other business things. That he did a lot of testing for OP13 so far, and he thinks that Blackbeard is actually pretty favored into most matchups. Because a lot of them get worse into Blackbeard, if that makes sense. For example, like the Zoro, the new 10-drop Broken Shanks card that resends all your Dawn, so you can swing 15 twice. Well, that doesn't do anything because it's not on play. So they remove some of their like 8-drop Mihawk blockers and stuff like that to replace it, so it makes it easier to play that matchup. Stuff like Red Blue Ace, for example, is just a slower version of UP in my mind as a Blackbeard player, because you don't ramp in that case. You ramp one time at 8 Dawn to play on a 10-drop. Well, if you have the answer on your board to that 10-drop, then you already won the matchup, kind of, because it's the same thing as UP, but they can't do it every single turn, right? So that's how I view that. But then the Emu is like the big elephant in the room, because that one is a turbo matchup, because none of these cards do anything in the matchup. So you'll have to do a lot of ratio changes and figure that out. We played a couple of matches together, like as me practicing Emu and him versus playing Blackbeard, and it was pretty 50-50. So I think with the new list that we're trying to try, it might be playable, but we'll see. Depends on like the meta and how it shapes, how much emo we see, and how much like we want to invest. Because at the end of the day, it's like if you invest in turbo, you win the emo matchup. If you invest in KO, you should win most of your other matchups. Same with like this set. If you invest in KO like this, you should win UP very frequently. You should win those matchups. Like for example, Bonnie. And it depends on like what you expect to see at a tournament. And
Got it.
the name of the game right now is UP. So
yeah. With obviously UP in mind, so being the most represented. I know, and I've talked to my friend Quint, who Eric Quintana, who's also like a big Blackbeard guy. I want to say now, like if I can recall correctly, that the biggest thing, right? Blackbeard used to be just always going second deck, because you're just going to spam 10. You just survive to spam 10 drops. Now, of course, you have the new Blackbeard, which adds a lot more control aspects. Is it usually do you want to go first, or like what matchups do you want to go second in? Because you can go Lafitte into Doc Q into Van Augur into 7-drop, and just play control from there. Like, what is the ideal curve now?
So I think it depends on the Blackbeard player. I think for me with my deck list, it actually, so there's benefits. So benefits in first, second for all matchups. I think the way we made the deck and the way we practice is that you can have a play for both curves, right? But when you think of Blackbeard, like you said, you do the Lafitte on 1 or a stage on 1 in era afterwards to fill your curve, then play Doc Q Augur, 7-drop, and that answers like everything for the most part. Now there's caveats where they have like the 6-drop law on board. You can't answer that with 7 drops, so you play something else, for example. But that's generally the bread and butter that beats like most decks. It's like a Lucci curve where like you'll play out exactly what you need to KO what they have on their turn on curve. So I think there's a benefit to both. The reason why I think like I technically won all my die rolls today is because the UPs all picked second into me. And I think, it's 50-50 either way. It's like the same win rate either way. But if you go first, it's a lot more snowbally basically. But like you can do the like 1-5, like one Lafitte, double Lafitte, for example, which is really great. It's like really good because it's swing twice into it basically. But then you play like Augur or Kuzan into a 7-drop and you're on curve, which is great. The only negative thing is they run a lot of like triggers now, so you have to be careful when you swing because they can't make sure they can't Bagua early, or they do a Godthread trigger off life. It's pretty important not to fall into that trap for Blackbeard. Once you avoid that, you should be able to kill things on curve. The thing is, when you go second, like Daniel, I think one of his games at Nats, like he got triple ramped, where like going second into a Blackbeard into UP, where they did like a life trigger into a double ramp, for example, to play like leader ability and play a Sanji out on curve really early. And the reason why I think like going second was a lot easier is because you have one more turn to activate your Tempest Kick and one more turn to draw and like get more cards in trash. So on 8, he came back on tempo because he had Tempest Kick in hand. So he did Tempest, Augur, and 7-drop to answer 9 drops, so make nothing change. Like even though he got triple ramped, which is GG for most decks, nothing changed, I guess, in this case where he like answered it. So there's benefits to both. I think I'm comfortable in both, so I don't think I'm very happy when I see UP. But I just know the matchup is very long and very grindy. So a lot of games go to overtime, or a lot of games just go to like both of us like running out of resources. So it's just a shame. But I think yeah, going for a second, it's all the same because when you go second, you can just fill out your curve with defeats and like dock queues and like searching events, and then you'll be able to catch up with strongers and tempest kicks to KO whatever they have. And usually it's no longer a tempo game where you play out burgers on 4 for most games. You need to set up and answer what they have. Like if they have a 5 drop on 5 in the Bonnie matchup, you go in second. You want to have a dock queue on board so you can do stronger auger to kill their 5 drop. So this is a very like a lot of like matchup specific things that you probably need to learn if you want to pick up Blackbeard in the meta right now. And like given that it's a few weeks until the next set, might be like fun information to know. But I think next set everything changes again. Where like we're now focusing to a new sector where we're doing burgers, for example. In that case, second is always better. I think 13. So right now, I don't think it matters right now. But
yeah.
So that's what I think is good.
Fair. I guess to kind of wrap things up here, what is like your mulligan look like? What are we looking for in like the starting hand, right? We talk Doc Q, we talk Lafitte, we talk the 7-drop Blackbeard. Like what are we actually ideally looking for in like the opening hand, right? Because there's of course Stage and Air, which fill up our trash.
Yeah, so like I mean, I would love to see double Tempest Kick or more in my hand. So a very funny interaction I had today was I think it was the 4th or 5th round UP I played against. I knew I searched a 5-drop Kuzan and a 7-drop like from a search from a stage. So when I played it, I had like 5 in hand. And so he was like, I don't think this is correct, but I'm gonna swing 7 your leader. I'm at 6 in hand, and he puddings me. And I was like, wow, that was really good. I show him my hand. It was 3 Tempest Kicks, a 7-drop, and a Kuzan, and then a 10-drop or something. Like I think it was Mancherry. So it was like the best cards ever. But there's no world where I like leader ability. Oh, it was Augur. Sorry, it was Augur. There's no world where I leader ability. I think because it's too like if I get starved, I lose the game. So I was like, yes, Pudding has it. This is like the best hand afterwards, like on the 5/7 Dawn turn in most games. Like this is like you're gonna catch up so much with this. Like obviously opening is just like double Lafitte is the best I think opener for most matchups. Unless you're playing against green. Green you need to have Doc Q on curve for most part because it's a arms race of like, okay, how much anti-reduction can you have and like anti-KO, and how much KO can I have, right? So it's an arms race. I played double dot Q, double Lafitte, I won some regionals in the past, and then I was like, this is a much harder game than if I just played dot Q on curve, which I had in my hand as well. I just wanted to double see if this worked, and it didn't work as well. So like this would be like an ideal hand, I suppose. Like this is the going first curve, like it's stock standard, like. You pitch this to play this out, so it pops out, and they have no on plays, and you just kill whatever they play. This is like pretty generically good Blackbeard for opener, but like any of these combinations of searchers is like good enough. Like if I have one searcher event in my hand, I'm gonna say okay, good enough. I'm gonna play it. Its only caveat is if I have an era and then not one of these two, I might not keep the hand because if I'm playing against Rayleigh, for example, or Zoro, I really want to be greedy with the matchup and look for a Lafitte or a stage. Era, I think I brick too. I like happened in my game where I bricked too much playing Era, where I didn't draw anything to play. That's just like results-based analysis, but I think the statistics of like using Lafitte or stage to draw, you draw 6 on your second turn, you draw 5 with this. So you'll basically re-mulligan with one of these cards. So you basically see what you need to see. So I want like a searcher, my first event, my first hand. Then I wanted to search dot Q, and then I want to draw or find Augur somehow, and then find the Kuzan, and then just have the same chain going over and over again. At some point, I want to draw Mancherry to put back Tempest Kicks and whatnot to my hand or trash, and then just go off from there. But this is one important thing is like obviously Tempest Kicks are not searchable, so it's very important. You need to draw and know where they are in the deck. So usually I put them like next to a card like I need like dot Q. So I like order it where it's like Tempest Kick then dot Q, so I can just use it and use dot Q.
The OG Lucci technique where you'd go Tempest into Gecko, and you're gonna Tempest and
Gecko. And you know where they are, right? So like you order them. It's like very like I had like a case where I did double Tempest Kick in a row because I knew they were on the top, into a dot Q to kill a 7-drop. So it's like at that point it's really easy to do. But then like you don't draw with it. You can't search them, so you need to use like Kuzan to draw into it basically, which is Kuzan and Stronger, for example, and that comes up a lot because this deck inherently draws a ton with Augur, Q, Kuzan, and Stronger. So you're gonna find your non-searchable cards. Like that's why I run only one man Sherry. Most people are like, why do you run one? Why not two or more? It doesn't fit, but maybe I'll run two because you can man Sherry each other back into the deck. So you have infinite loops of infinite value.
They're the infinite Tsukiyomi.
Infinite Tsukiyomi, as Elijah would say.
Awesome, awesome. Well, congrats once again. Thank you so much for your time. Any shout outs, Tony?
Yep, thank you. I mean, I name dropped a couple people in the past during this video. Of course, Elijah, friend, George for Whitebox for introducing me to Vampyr, Daniel for the coaching and the friendliness, and then like my friend Nelson and everyone else in the Blackbeard group chat that we have, like Onde and such. And shout out to Waypoint Gaming for Kent for letting me buy one of these for my collection. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't have too much.
Awesome. Well, amazing, and congrats once again.